My name is Ando, and I'm an artist, a photographer, and a member of the Undergang. Every week, I sit down with an artist, a curator, a musician, an author, or anyone else working in the creative fields, and we talk about their work, their life, and what it takes to keep fighting the good fight in our world today. Welcome to the Undergang Armchair. Hey, alright, welcome back, gang. How you guys doing? This is Ando. This is the Undergang Armchair Podcast. We all know that. It actually says so in the intro. Probably shouldn't keep saying that. Today on the show, we've got Marco Mazzoni, Italian artist, in town visiting for his show at B15 Gallery. If you guys don't know him, he has an incredible technique with colored pencils, amazing drawings, and I was surprised and happy to find out that he had a really researched thought process. He really thought through what he was doing. He had clear goals for entire exhibitions, and it wasn't just technique, which makes everything all the much more interesting. That's one of the advantages of this show. I get to understand what people are doing a little bit more. So look forward to that in a few minutes. We also have a short special guest that'll be after Marco at the end, so you guys will have to stick around to listen to that. It's a surprise. Other than that, I'm just going to tell you guys about the shows last week and this week. There's a lot to see out there. Stuff that opened last Friday, stuff that's opening this Friday. Did you guys go to David Risley's crazy house party / gallery opening on Friday? I unfortunately came too late. I misunderstood him. I thought it was going later than it actually was. But I arrived around 9 o'clock, and holy cow, it looked like a goddamn house party at 4 a.m. Place was trashed. Beer cans everywhere. Drunk people all over the place. It was great. And, that makes sense because the show is about artists making music and musicians making art. And what do you guys think? Who's bigger booze hounds, musicians or artists? Either way, they were together. They were there. He has a record shop, and he can make coffee, and I think that's great that he's out there doing that. So go see the show. Go have a cup of coffee. Go hear some crazy records. That's recommended. Go see David Risley Gallery. And, Marco Mazzoni's show opened, the fellow of the hour for this interview. His show opened last Friday at Gallery B15 in Islandsborga. Go check that out. You'll hear why soon. And this week we have Jacob Knoll, friend of the show, opening on Friday at Gallery Kent. And we have Ruth Kampau, also opening on Friday at Gallery Marianne Fries. That's enough about that. Go see some art. In the meantime, enjoy the talk with Marco. So it's hard. It's a little... how do you do it openings when there's lots of people looking at your artwork? Is that hard?
For me, yes, ever. And in all the social media, and there is not my face on the board.
Right.
Because it's a work, not a human.
Right, so it's more about making the artwork than it is about standing and presenting it to people.
Yeah, no, I'm not like other artists that love to be the star.
Right.
Yeah, there is only the work.
Yeah.
It's better because people think that I'm really beautiful if they don't see my face, so it's okay for me. The problem is when they see me and say, okay, you are not Brad Pitt, and say, okay.
I think that there's that myth of the artist who stays at home and works in the darkness and then comes out to the gallery, and doesn't like seeing people. And I think that's changed now. Art is very much business.
I don't think this is something like legendary.
Legend.
Word, because I know a lot of old artists that have a big ego.
Right.
Okay, and it's really difficult when you eat with this kind of artists to speak to something about different. They think me.
Right. They just
Me.
talk about myself.
And so it's there is some artists that don't love to be in person. Okay, and but now it's business. Okay, but there are artists like this.
Right. Right. I mean, well, let's start from the start. Where did you come from? Italy. Where in Italy are you from?
Milan.
Okay. And you still live
I'm
in
not
Milan?
from Milan, but now I live in Milan and I have the studio in Milan. I came from a little town near Piemonte.
Okay.
That there is a region near Milan and
Where all the good
right.
food is, all the good food and wine.
Yeah. The meat
Yeah.
and the wine, Barolo.
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
Barolo. Yeah, it's fantastic. This is why you need to eat to drink after 6 o'clock.
Right. But did you go to art school then?
Yeah, Brera in Milan.
In Milan, so that's why
Yeah.
you moved to Milan.
Yeah, in the academy. I moved to Milan because Italy it's really poor like contact. And it's really poor for the contemporary artists. So Milan is the only one center of the contemporary artists.
So if you have to go to school, you have to
yeah.
go to Milan, basically.
Yeah, and if you wanna be an artist, you must stay in Milan. You need it also because the shipment of the works
Right.
are more easy from Milan. If you live outside of Milan, it's really difficult to ship the works outside from Italy.
So basically, the center of the art world in Italy is Milan, not Rome.
Yeah, no, Rome, no. Okay. No, for everything is Milan, fashion and
That's true. You do hear more. I mean, it's also there's more money in Milan,
Yeah,
and there's more industry and
in industry, not at all. In this moment, we are
right. But just in general,
Yeah, in general, yeah. Rome is only the center of the politic
Right.
stuff. So it's better to be out from Rome because Italian people in this moment really hate the politic.
right. Don't be a politician now.
Yeah.
Did the school you go to? I've been to one in Milan. Is that the one with the big courtyard? You walk in and there's statues.
Yeah. You see in front of you.
And the stairs that go up in a big cross.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's the most famous school, isn't it?
Yeah. For the people out from Italy is the most famous, but it's not the best art academy in Italy.
Okay, it's just the most classic, most famous.
No, have the name.
Right.
Okay, but there is the problem that in Italy the art teacher, are artists that are not artists.
Right,
You understand?
right,
So,
I do.
they need to teach to have the money to live.
Right, they can't sell artwork to make a living.
Yeah. And so our teacher really, what is the name in English of?
Are they angry?
Yeah,
are they frustrated?
Yeah, exactly. And they hate the younger
Right, and they hate the
students.
good students. They hate the people who are talented.
Yeah. And but love woman.
Right,
So
right.
you see, your voting and the woman vote is really different.
Right.
Yeah. I hope my girlfriend don't like it. and you can't.
Did you just always draw when you were growing up, and
Yeah, I started 4 years. 4 years.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of problem in Bavaria for this because in Italy there is only oil paintings.
Right, that's the only
And
artwork.
the teacher want that you paint because drawing is the sketch for the big work. So if you draw, you do only sketch.
That's crazy. Nowadays, after hundreds of years
Yeah.
of modern art, you still have to do oil painting.
Yeah. And I'm not able to do. I have not the hand with the liquid material.
Right.
And it's really difficult for me. So I understand that I need to do only what I can.
Right. So did you like art school?
High school.
Art school.
The university.
Yeah.
I like it. Not for the people inside, but for the students and for the idea.
For the network and for the people, yeah. What happened when you were finished? Did you...
I have 2 years where I work like assistant
Right.
of a really ugly artist. Yeah.
The person was ugly or the art was ugly?
The same.
Both.
Yeah.
That's no fun.
So I can't say you who, but
Right.
it's okay. And but it's one of the worst moments in my life.
Wow.
After I started to draw, and the first time I do a show is in Milan, but I have more opportunity after that. Jonathan Levine, the New York gallerist, called me for a show.
How did he find you?
In internet.
Just from your Tumblr?
Facebook.
Okay.
I don't remember if Tumblr or Facebook.
Right. Wow.
And called me, and there was a blogger that write about me on his blog, and after people
Right, started spreading.
call me, and 2 months after the show with Jonathan, he called me.
Okay. Here in Denmark.
And I do my first solo out of Italy with him.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's kind of lucky, you know, you didn't...
Yeah.
You had 2 years of working for an asshole.
Yeah.
And then you could start working on your own stuff.
I think it's karma, because the 2 years with the asshole is really 2 years with the asshole. So now it's really lucky. Yeah.
Right, you paid your dues.
Yeah. For the rest of my life, it's okay.
When was this? That you when you had your show here for the first time? Was this
3 or 2 years ago?
2011.
2011.
Okay. And I heard also that you were called by Kasper Eistrup, the Danish musician and artist.
Yeah, it's strange. I could speak with you in this morning. It's strange because I have a lot of collaboration with Copenhagen people. And it's really strange because in Italy we don't know who are Kashmir.
Right.
Yeah, and it's really for indie people in Italy.
Right.
And they call me when I have a show in Seattle, and call me with mail and say to me, we are a band and we need it. A lot of band call me for a cover, but so I say I can try watch what they are, and after I understand they are a great band. Yeah. So it's we started this collaboration, and I love the LP.
Yeah. I haven't seen it, but it's the newest album, right? That you made the cover for.
Yeah.
And that was, did he know of you through B15, or did he just find you on the internet?
I don't know. I think they find me in internet because I read only the mail, and I don't know who.
Right.
Who
Okay. So you get a lot of people writing to you.
Not a lot. Yeah.
Sure, but I mean, different bands.
Yeah. A lot of garage bands of boys.
Right.
So but the problem is that the most unfamous bands call me and say to me what they want. I want this, and you must do this.
Right.
Yeah. and the most famous call me and say, I need your work. It's
Right.
really different.
Totally. Well, yeah, I mean, because you're not an illustrator. You don't. They don't tell you exactly what to do. You make work, and if they like it, they like it.
Yeah. It's okay. I think it's better if you find me is only because you like my work.
Right.
I'm not able to do something different.
Right. Did so you worked for 2 years for this jerk, and then you got called. You got contacted to have a show in New York.
Yeah. 1 month after I.
You quit.
Yeah, with this artist. Yeah, because I think the problem of the assistant in general is that you must. In Italy, 6, 7 years ago, there is a lot of money because people don't pay tax.
Right.
So there are a lot of collectors that have a lot of money, and so a lot of ugly artists have a lot of business.
Right,
and,
if they're popular or
trendy.
trendy.
Need assistant, but it's not really artists. It's people that understand that I can have money from this. I do this.
The system.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there must be some good art in Milan. I mean, it's an international. It's probably maybe the only international city in Italy.
Yeah. It's now in Naples.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is a little system of young artists, and
okay.
in Sicily there are 2 or 3 really young and
In Catania or Palermo.
Palermo.
Okay.
There is now we speak about a school of Palermo because there is 10 or 11 good artists that work really good.
Right, and they're getting outside of out of where they come
One
from.
of these artists work with me with Jonathan Levine, the gallery in New York.
So how was it in the U.S.? How was your show? I mean, when you went to America to have the show, how was it? Were you happy? Was it exciting or was it kind of frightening?
Yeah, it is the same problem. I go, but my person is not. You understand?
Yeah, you don't really want to.
So I go, but it's strange because when I have a show in Seattle, is really similar to European mood.
Right.
The people.
Right.
So there is not problem. In New York is quite different.
Right, it's very
really
energetic and high charged.
Yeah, and my New York gallerist is really strange.
Yeah.
It's a really strange place.
Well, I mean, you have to step outside of what you're comfortable with in order to sell artwork, I think. You have to try new things, and you have to travel, and you have to, shake people's hands and talk about your artwork. Are you getting better at it? Do you feel like it's easier?
To be an artist?
To travel, to meet people, to show yourself.
The first time I take an airplane is for the show with Mazzoni 3 years ago.
Wow.
Because I hate travel. Now I like it.
So you are getting used to it.
Yeah.
It's becoming easier, yeah.
It's a kind of the first time I came here and the airplane go
right,
to
takes
the
off.
sky. I like.
Right, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, like a virgin. You understand? Oh my God!
But yeah, I guess it becomes, the more you do it, the easier it is.
Yeah. Only the first time I have this kind of.
Right.
But now it's not a problem, and because I from Milan to Seattle is 11 hours.
That's a long flight.
Now it's nothing is impossible.
Right. Next year you're going to China.
No. And my friend go to China, and he said to me it's really strange. So I don't know if.
Yeah. Do you ever think about moving away from Italy?
I'm happy for the work. I don't know if I can because I need something like routine.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right,
I
a
need to get
system,
up, and work every day. So where I am is only a window. You understand?
There's only one
I'm,
window.
in front of my desk all the day, and go out with the dog. Stop.
So you work every day, 7 days a week?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you see the finger is.
Right. You just bent your finger from doing so much pencil drawing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's not so beautiful, this.
Well, it's a scar from your work.
Yeah,
you can
but
say.
it's not sexy. Yeah.
Well, your artwork speaks for you.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I hope so. But it's okay.
But I mean, so you've always done pencil drawings?
Yeah. I try for school to paint. I understand it's better that I do pencil.
That's your work.
Because my father in the 80s have where I was really young, have a paper factory. Okay, they created the paper for what is the name?
What does it do for washing your face?
No, the paper you use when you eat.
Oh, napkins. Napkins.
Napkins.
Yeah, serviette.
Yeah. Fazzoletto.
Fazzoletto, yeah.
And when the paper is not morbido.
It's not soft.
Yeah. But after they use this kind of.
Oh, they have like a press,
machine,
a form. Yeah.
They take the soft.
Right.
And when I went to my father office, he needed that I do something
To
for
help.
the hours,
Right.
and give me the paper and the pencil and say to me, stay here, and I start to work like this.
And that's probably where you started getting the thing where you can work for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, because my father say, okay, don't
Right.
create,
Don't talk, don't do anything, just sit
like
there.
this. Yeah, because there is a lot of machine like.
Right.
Fantastic.
Get a hand stuck in the press and Right, clearly. So your parents weren't artists.
No. From generation, no.
Right. They're just factory
and,
workers.
They hate what I do.
Still?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now my mother say, okay, but it's.
Right. Well, I guess it's the classic story that parents want their kid to be rich and successful in business and
It's strange, but it's not this kind of problem because the problem is that my mother and my father are really old mind,
right?
So they think it's not a work,
right?
You
that
do
it's
this
a
on
hobby,
Saturday
right?
and Sunday, not every day. What is this?
Right.
Yeah. So it's.
Well, I mean, that's your job then, is to show them, yes, this is work.
Yeah. And I say to my mother, I'm an artist, please, okay, like this, and she said, okay, it's your life, but after a lot of time.
Right.
So it's.
Well, you got to fly to Seattle. That's big.
Yeah, it's strange, Seattle. Seattle people is really strange. I love them.
It's very European in a way.
Yeah, I think so. You don't think so?
I do. I think so. Yeah, it's and it's the weather's terrible there. It rains all the time and it's dark and.
But there is a lot of people outside in the streets.
Yeah.
And
they drink a lot of coffee.
Yeah. And a lot of beer.
Yeah. Americans, especially in northern, like the West Coast, they do drink a lot of beer. Have you been to San Francisco?
No, I must go in next year.
I think you'll like it. It's like Seattle, but it's warmer.
Okay.
In a lot of ways.
And my friend from Seattle say to me that there is the three, Portland, San Francisco, and Seattle.
Yeah, exactly. And those are like the three big liberal, artistic cities. But San Francisco is beautiful. It's very expensive to live there, like New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's a great place to visit. And there's a lot of good art. Um, but I want to talk about your drawings too. Where do you, like, when you draw, do you think about what you're going to draw, or does it just come to you?
No. I work by cycle.
Uh-huh.
It's possible. It's because when I was 18, I go to my ankle in the middle of Sardinian, and you know the Sardinian for the sea, but in the middle there is nothing.
There's mountains, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of woods.
Right.
And,
Right.
And I stay there for 3 months, and she was something similar to the word of this witch. Yeah.
A wish?
She needed to use a lot of medical plants to help all the town, the little town.
Right.
So I try to represent for the sequel that you see here, the big work is something like all the plants are medical plants. The woman, all the works are from this kind of woman that in Italy is closed by the church. You understand?
No. What do you mean?
By religion.
Ah, right. She's not allowed to do her work.
Yeah, because is woman and help people without pray.
Right, and
So
it's pagan.
Yeah. We have a lot of story in Italy like this, but we don't speak about because we have the Italian church.
Right.
That is
This big, strong church.
Yeah, in the world.
Right.
So I try to speak about this with the work. I think the important things of the artists is to speak about what you know.
Right.
Okay, so if I am Italian, I can't work like an American artist, you understand? A lot of my friends that work like artists try to work like Americans with the icon. You understand?
Right. The lettering and the icons and yeah.
Yeah, but it's not in our mind.
Right.
It's something. The word is genius loci.
Genius loci.
Yeah. So you are from your roots.
Ah, right. You come from where you are. You come from what you are. Yeah.
So I think I see that in American people like the work because it's an Italian work.
Right, it's different.
Yeah.
Right. So you worked on how do you call a witch? The straga in Italian.
Strega.
Yeah.
But it's a name that of the church.
Right. It's not the Christian idea of a witch who rides a broomstick. It's a woman who knows the plants and the medicine of the forest, and you know.
Yeah. In Sardinia, too much because it's an island. So there is the idea of the mother. And not the mother of a child, but the mother
the
of
big
the
mother.
town.
Wow.
And is a woman society where the women are the chief. You understand? And now it's really changed this kind of Italian are machistic, macho in this moment. And the women are not at the same level.
Right, and the church is macho too. And, you know, it represents very much.
Yeah. And it's really stupid because it is the story of Italy. Yeah, if you know mafia in Italy, people think the mafia like Godfellas.
Yeah.
But in Italy, it's not like this. In Italy, the mafia of the old times arrived because the woman say to his man,
to her husband,
to her husband, I don't like what they do, and they start to fight. But it's from the woman because it's the woman
that said go fix this problem.
Yeah. The man is the physic, but the head is the woman.
Right.
Is an Italian culture, but is not so evident.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that where mamismo comes from? Mamismo? the
No,
the
this
love of
is
your
another
mother.
kind of level, but yeah, yeah. The idea of the mother that I say to you is not my son stay here.
Right.
Yeah, because is take your life.
Right.
I am.
Right.
I
Go
am,
out and be
yeah,
a man.
Yeah. And but Italians are really able to don't understand our culture.
Right.
Understand? So.
Well, it's changed a lot too in the last, 100 years, even 50 years.
Change?
Yeah, the
Are you
Italy.
sure?
Well, okay, sure, some things are the same, but if you look at like the political situation from
Yeah,
World War One,
Mussolini,
World War Two.
Berlusconi is not.
Okay, I mean, point taken, point
Yeah,
taken.
yeah, yeah.
But the old way of life is disappearing. So maybe it's old in people's heads.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
the world's changing. So there's that
The
conflict.
world, but Italy, it's strange because we don't have the idea of outside of us.
Right.
You understand? So it's really difficult for the culture, for everything.
Right, to change.
If you see the television speak only about Italy.
Yeah.
And the news from the other states don't arrive here in Italy, and it's
Right. It's a little strange.
Can't change if
Right.
you have this kind of condition.
It's funny, whenever we go back to Italy, because, my girlfriend's Italian, people are like, oh, yeah, where do you live? And she's like, Denmark. And they're just like, what?
Yeah.
What is Denmark? Like, you don't live at home? Like, what? They just don't understand. But then you meet the Italians who have moved away. And they all have this, like, understanding with each other.
Yeah, is a moment now that changed something, but for all the Italians are really what is the pochi.
Small.
Yeah.
Right. It's not a huge percentage of people.
Yeah,
who
because I can speak about the north of Italy, but the south of Italy and the middle of Italy, it's really old people.
Well, what's going to happen? I mean, now the politics are blowing up. You've got Beppe Grillo, and the 5-Star Movement, and you've got now Renzi's coming in.
It's like a television drama. And they understand, the politicians understand that they need to move.
Right, now
so
it's serious.
People, but they don't move really.
Right.
Understand? I don't know if you remember Gattopardo.
The leopard, yeah.
Yeah, there is a phrase, the words that speak really good about Italians. I need to change everything to change nothing.
Right.
And this is Italy, exactly.
Right.
So if there is Renzi or Grillo, or Renzi is not really different to Berlusconi.
No?
No, he's the other. Yeah. It's ever like this.
He's just a politician.
Yeah. And the wrong things is that Italian think politicians are all like ladri.
They're all thieves.
Yeah, and it's so. Is not my work.
Right,
and
those guys,
they
do that.
everything what they want.
Right.
Like this, because.
Right, there's no integration with regular society. They live in a different world.
Yeah.
But I mean, Beppe Grillo came along out of nowhere, really, and everyone got kind of shocked by that.
But it's like television drama. The problem is that we don't understand if Grillo do what.
Right, what he's screaming about all the time.
Yeah, or is only to move the situation.
Right, just to talk.
Because he have a lot of people that follow him, but the politician from Grillo scream a lot in the parliament and stop.
Right, and do nothing.
Yeah, they try, but are not a lot.
Right.
So you don't understand if he do a show or there is
right, if it's
movement.
empty or if it's actually something happening. Yeah, it's kind of a scary situation.
Yeah, I think Grillo is really interesting, and I think if something like Grillo arrive in another state, one person like this can change something.
Right. I mean, I don't think it's ever happened here, as far as I know.
But here don't need this kind of people.
Well, you know, it's not as bad as in Italy, but things here things move very slowly here. It's very much government by a large group. So nothing radical can happen because it's always very much agreement.
But you see that it's a good government.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yes, more or less. There's I
don't know, better than Italy.
Right.
Sure,
I mean, it's always a comparison thing. It's better than America, too, in a lot of ways.
I don't know, you have Obama.
Yeah, but I mean, I voted for Obama. I believe in Obama, but Guantanamo Bay is still open. There's still war in Afghanistan. There, you know, it's also hard to see.
Better than Bush. I understand.
Of course.
I can understand if you have Bush for 20 years, like we have Berlusconi, okay?
Right.
But you have a change.
Right, but Berlusconi's a disaster. I mean, he was a national disaster.
I don't think he is the disaster. He represents the worst Italian and are too much.
Right.
And this is why he stayed for 20 years. Okay.
Right.
Because Italians are like this.
Yeah, my girlfriend says that too. I have a hard time believing it because I don't know those Italians, but
yeah, but it's a lot.
They exist.
It's the same. North Italy is one thing, but center and south is another kind of things.
Right.
It's really difficult.
Well, how has the current political situation in Italy manifested itself in the art world? In, say, Milano, is it harder to sell artwork now?
In Italy, yeah, is only because before the money arrive from don't pay taxes.
Right.
Understand?
Right.
And I don't know the name in English. Nero is
black.
Yeah, but
do you mean under the
money,
table? Right. Yeah. Right. Okay. You pay under the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. Without taxes, without a receipt. Yeah.
Cash.
Yeah.
I don't know where they arrive, but cash.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
And this is the collector before.
Right.
So now there is a lot of controls. It's really difficult that people pay to have something and pay and from where arrived this money.
Right. There's now control on it.
Yeah.
But would people rather not buy anything than buy something where they have to pay tax?
They don't pay anything.
They just don't buy anything.
In arts, it's really difficult.
Because there must still be a fair amount of rich people in Milano.
The rich people understand that if they pay for an artwork, the fiscal police try to understand why you have a lot of money for artworks, and they control.
So it becomes a dangerous situation to have an expensive artwork.
Yeah, because before they do everything.
Right, under the table, right. Wow, that's horrible.
No, it's what is the name of cortocircuito in Italian? It's something like a dog that.
Oh, a serpent biting its own tail.
Yeah.
Right. I got you. But I mean, so does that mean you have to sell most of your artwork in Denmark, in America?
In Italy, I have a gallerist that work with foreign collectors.
Right. And they come from Germany. They come from
some Italians, but not at all.
Okay.
And I work better outside from Italy, but I work better because the work is paid with all the
with the paperwork, with the receipts.
Yeah, regular.
Right. Everything's legitimate.
Yeah.
What to go back to the work here, you say the show you have hanging right now, this is based off of the Sardinian woman
Yeah.
who works in the forest. Is it recent work? You made this now?
Yeah, I prepared this year.
Okay.
I have 2 months to end this because it's too much big for me.
Right, you said that this work is different than work you did before.
I started this show after I see I don't know if you know a museum. I don't remember the name of the museum.
Where
in
is
Colmar,
it? Oh, in Courmayeur?
where there is the I don't know in English Pala d'Altare of Grunewald.
Where are we? What country?
Colmar is in French.
Is it by Mont Blanc?
Is near Basilea. It's really
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that area.
but there is an old church that have now is a museum.
Okay.
Where there is this fantastic work, and like a church, there is only a work in front of you and a lot of little work.
Right, going up to the center, to the altar.
Yeah. And I think about this show like this.
Ah, okay, so you have the one big work,
In front
and
of
then you have the small works leading up to it.
Yeah.
Okay, is
like
this...
a representation, and this is why I do a religion theme.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I got you. So like the work, you know, you're talking about how the church suppresses this woman,
but
it's a new church.
But but I am an Italian, and I know the cultural from the church,
right?
The narrative story, not what they say, but how they say this.
The language of
like a lot of historical artists play with this kind of thing. If you see the Botticelli, or they speak about other, but they use the religion theme.
Right, and the language and the symbols.
Yeah.
So what are the animals in your drawings? What do they represent?
Because it's all the representation of the woman, the mother from Sardinia that have a relationship with the nature, with all the system.
Right.
To have the knowledge to help the human. You understand?
Yeah.
And this is something like a sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of the woman, of her life to help something.
Right. So you're right. I got it. So the whole show is very planned then, and the whole thing fits together.
The works. And
right.
The fantastic thing is that when I arrive here, I see then he understand what
the concept.
Yeah.
Do you always work this way?
The work is.
Oh, okay. They hung up the show before you got here.
Yeah.
Do you always work this way?
When I work for solo, yeah.
Okay. What's next? You know, do you have more plans?
I think I need to read something different from ancient book. So I can try to understand what I want. In this period, in this month, I start to read the historical Gothic books, like Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to understand how the woman is Dracula. If you think about Dracula, you think about a Gothic novel, okay?
Right.
But it's something like a moral novel where the woman have the sin, and she move out to a man and arrive a fantastic man that help the stupid woman to come back to me. You understand?
Yeah.
So it's really strange how many symbols are inside, moral symbols.
Right.
Are inside this, and I wanna try to speak about this with the new works.
The symbols.
But I have nothing in my head in this moment.
So you do a lot of research, though.
Yeah. I need to read a lot to work.
Okay.
Ever.
So your work is never just from your imagination. It's always with a specific idea in mind.
It's not like I do this for this, but I need to read a lot, and after something go in my head, and I don't know what, but I see after I do.
Right, and you start thinking about it, and
Yeah. It's like a mood.
right,
I need a mood,
right.
a new mood to work.
Do you write about your
Never.
work? Never. It's always visual.
Yeah, and I think it's really difficult to understand if you don't know. But it's the beautiful thing when
Right.
people arrive in front of your work, see and understand what they think, not what I think.
Do you like being difficult to understand? Do you want it to be hard?
No, I think is better if you read something of you than of me. I'm not so much important to give you a message, you understand?
Yeah.
So I need my message to work, but I don't think is the message.
It's for you. It's not for the viewer necessarily.
Yeah, it's for me, and sometimes for people if try to understand, but every people see what they want, and it's
Right.
really good for me. It's what in Italian scambio.
It changes.
Yeah, change of.
Does it change your own idea about what it is?
And not change, exchange.
Exchange, right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's very daring in a way to step back and make the work free and say there is no message, or there is. It's my own method, but you are free to understand it how you will.
I give you all the symbols to understand what I mean, because if you see the work, the big work is pietas, so you understand that I speak of something,
Right.
okay?
Right.
But if you wanna see something different to pietas, it's probably is more interesting than my idea.
Depending, because some people will look at it and say, "I don't understand. Basta. I'm done. Goodbye." It's a gamble. Either some people will engage, and
I
some
don't
people.
think for figurative art, because figurative is for people is more easier to read
Right.
than other kind of arts.
Yeah. Do you ever think about writing? About writing about your work, about writing about your ideas?
Writing.
Yeah.
If I need to write about my work,
Yeah.
when I do, if I speak about this when I have interview and stuff, but in the shows, if people speak to me and say to me, "What is the meaning of?" I say, try to speak about, but
Right.
I prefer what they think about.
Huh.
You understand?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's brave, in a way.
Yeah, and I love this kind of exchange,
Right.
because you go in the story of the people, so you can see what they see, because they have a life. You understand?
Right. And
so,
they bring their own life to
yeah.
the
I love
work.
the narrative.
Right.
Okay.
That makes sense. So, do you have any other shows coming up after this one, or is it just back to start?
No, I have a solo in next year in Los Angeles with my Los Angeles gallerist. But now, after this show, I take a break from everything. I need something like a sabbatic year.
A sabbatical.
Yeah.
Just to read books and think and not draw all day long.
I try to draw, but I need to do wrong things.
Right.
You understand?
Right, to do things that aren't perfect, to make mistakes.
Yeah.
I understand.
Group show in June. And the group show in June.
And the group show in June.
Yeah, but in other galleries call me to have something, and I say no, stop.
Right, you can't work too much because then you just lose everything.
Yeah, because it's 3 years that I don't stop.
Wow.
And I need to stop it. Watch my finger.
Right, your
I
finger's
need to
going to
stop
fall
it.
off if you don't. Right. Well, I mean, that's exciting. And it's also exciting because it's not just in Italy. It's, it's in Denmark, it's in Los Angeles, it's in Seattle, it's in New York.
Yeah, I think I'm lucky because my work go out when the social media have the boom.
Right. So
And
people could see it from anywhere.
Yeah, and have what is condivision?
I can look it up here. I got my
Condivisione is the
condivisione. Non lo so. I have my English-Italian dictionary right here, though. To share.
Yeah, share.
To share. Right. So it's not
more easy than 5 years ago.
Right.
And in this moment, it's not so easy because everything is sharing.
Right, and there's a million artists online.
Yeah. So 3 years ago, there is a little window.
Right.
Where, like Tumblr, I'm one of the first artists that use Tumblr.
Wow.
So I have a lot of interest.
Right.
Because when I post something in Tumblr 3 years ago, I'm always tag artist on Tumblr.
Right, and then you just show up anytime anybody looks.
Yeah, and in this moment are more artists than follower in Tumblr.
Oh yeah,
so
totally.
Yeah, I have this kind of little window 3 years ago, and I'm lucky for this. It's karma.
Or smart. Right, it's all that asshole's fault.
Yeah. So I think, I'm lucky for this.
Well, I mean, you obviously work hard too.
Yeah, but life sometimes help you.
Sure.
Yeah, if I'm 50, I have more difficult to be international like now.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends. There's so many things happening.
Yeah, but it's not so easy like now.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you did the right thing. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's also because your work was good. If you were a bad artist and you happen to be one of the first artists on Tumblr, maybe you would have.
I think I don't know this. I think people can decide if I am this or not. But I need to admit to myself that I'm lucky for this kind of window of time that I have.
Right. Well, I see that, you say you're shy and you have a hard time meeting people, but like you say, you also enjoy the exchange. So that fits in with social media and that kind of transfer of information.
It's okay, but I don't put my face.
Right.
Understand? It's not myself.
Right. You can be both anonymous and
something similar. Yeah.
Right. Do you you don't have a website, right? You just have Tumblr.
Never. No. Tumblr, Instagram, and the Facebook fan page.
And you don't want to have a website?
The website are the galleries.
Wow. Right. I think that's smart because every artist has a website now.
Yeah, but I don't like it because a lot of people write to me, collectors, and say to me, I want this work. It's not my work. This okay.
Right.
I don't want to have this kind of work.
Right. You want the gallery to take care of that.
Yeah.
I think that's smart, and then you can focus on.
No, and it's better than because I have. I can work only with drawing and don't think about money.
Right. Well, it's smart because, I'm a photographer and I have a website and I spend a lot of time on the website, and not on the work itself. So I think you're actually making a lot of the right choices in terms of how to do this.
Yeah, because I don't know, but the website artists are
Yeah, but it's pretty easy. I mean, there's systems for making websites that are pretty cheap. But you know, if it's working for you, there's no reason.
No, no, not like this, like money.
Ah.
It's like I don't know what kind of importance have the website artists.
Right, what their focus is.
Yeah. Because when I search some interesting artists, I try to see if they are on Facebook. Now, me.
Instead of a website.
Yeah, not the website.
Why? What's different about Facebook?
Oh, Facebook or Instagram, because it's more interesting. If you see, you know Judith Supine. Is a New Yorker artist, graffiti artist.
Judy Supine?
Judith Supine. He's a man, but have the name of a woman. And the work is fantastic. I love. And on Instagram, you go inside the work because you see the moment when he start or something similar. The website don't give you this.
No, it's very
like
curated.
A blog, you understand?
Right. Yeah.
And I prefer this in this moment. Tomorrow, I can say to you, I prefer the website.
Sure, that could change.
This moment, I need the narrative. You understand?
Yeah.
Of the artist to understand better the artist.
Right. You don't want to see the book. You want to see the process of making the book.
Yeah, the process and the process.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I think your show looks great, and I'm really happy to understand why.
We know tomorrow we need that show.
Well, thank you so much for speaking with me.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that was Marco Mazzoni fighting his way through a foreign language to have a good conversation with me. He's obviously really shy, so I really want to thank him for putting up the champion effort. It's also hard, you know, in another language to make yourself understood, and I think he did a great job. So I hope you guys enjoyed the talk. I thought there was a lot of interesting stuff to bite into. And, you know, he obviously wants the viewer to bring their own ideas to the show and figure out their own meaning. But for me, I really enjoyed hearing what his ideas and what his process was for it. So again, I recommend seeing it because that kind of work often can drown in technique, you know, and it can sometimes even make the concepts appear to be farther away. So once you get that as part of the viewing experience, the whole thing becomes a lot more solid. And the fact that he set up the exhibition like a church with rows of artworks leading down to a center altar piece, essentially, I thought it was all very interesting. And, you know, yeah, again, it really helps contextualize the whole thing for me. One of the myths I've been talking about out there is that the artist, as the genius who lives in an attic and doesn't really socialize or, you know, act like a businessman, doesn't exist anymore. I think they might still exist, actually. They're out there. You know, and what it underlines is that, in fact, it's all about how good your work is. People bemoan that you have to be a good businessman, you have to be a good networker as an artist and all these things. But on the other hand, if you just make really killer work, people are going to talk about it. So you don't need to focus on your website, you don't need to focus on networking, and you don't need to focus on getting out there. You actually need to focus on your work. And I'm taking that to heart for this podcast, actually. If this podcast was an art piece, it's time to step up the game here and make things all that much better. And it kind of goes hand in hand what he was saying, too, about not having a website. I think that's really interesting because, you know, God knows I've spent a lot of time building my own website. But he's right. Once an artwork is done, it's the gallery's job to run a website, to show the final work. What the artist can do is have a Tumblr or Instagram account which shows the process, which shows their life, which shows the works developing, all that sort of kind of the ideas about the making of art. But when the final work is done, it's out of their hands. It goes out into the world. It's no longer the artist's work. So in a lot of ways, you don't need a website when you're at a certain level. You know, so I hereby declare there's a new bar, there's a new standard you can get to in your career, and it's the you don't need a website bar, in which people can see your work on other people's websites. So, you know, let's make that a goal. right? I mean, okay, I'm a photographer. I think maybe that's a little more relevant for having a website. But if you make original artworks in a lot of ways, finish them, send them out into the world, and that's it. It's done. It's over. Make something new. Think about that instead. So, should we start an Instagram? That's the big question. Should this podcast start an Instagram? Would you guys follow us on Instagram? We are resistant to the idea. Facebook owns Instagram. You guys know that, right? We don't really want to take part in that, but on the other hand, it might be kind of interesting. You guys know of any other options aside from Instagram that are just as easy? We do know about Tumblr. We got one of those. Yahoo owns that, by the way. But it's not quite as instant as Instagram. So, what do you think? Should we do that? Write me a mail. I'll tell you what, I'm making a contest for you guys. Contest, my bare ass. First person who writes me a mail, first one of you listeners who writes me a mail, I will read it on the air. And you'll be famous, you hear me? Famous. So yeah, let's get those emails going. Come on, write me anything. I will read that on air, unless it's too long. The first person who sends me a paragraph of reasonable length, I will read it on air. But mostly I just want to know, should we start an Instagram? Is it worth it? Do you guys care? Does it matter? But that's it. We got a lot of good interviews coming up. Been out there interviewing people. Oh, that just reminds me. I forgot to tell you guys. There's also Richard Coleman at V1. Go check out that show. It's colorful work. It looks great. I also got a chance to talk to him, so he's coming up in the next few weeks. Richard Coleman, V1 Gallery. And there's, of course, friend of the show, Jacob Knoll, who was a previous guest. He, at the time of the interview, thought that it was going to be much farther in the future, but turns out things got moved around, and here we are. His show opens on Friday. So instead of me saying something, why don't you hear for yourself what the man has to say? Yeah, so you were supposed to have a show in when?
April.
And you're having a show when?
The day after tomorrow.
Day after tomorrow, people. You heard it here. Right, so you were on the show earlier. We talked about you getting ready to do it, and now you're here doing it. Mm-hmm. And you just finished today?
I finished today, and I framed everything, and it's ready to install.
How are we feeling?
Exhausted. Exhausted, but excited.
Right, I mean, you finished it. Mm-hmm. That's number one.
Yeah, and it looks awesome.
Did you get it up, like, kind of in a place you could look at it all? Mm-hmm. And the big prints are in? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Yeah.
So what does the show look like? What did it end up being? What's included?
It includes, it's photo-based. By the time we talked last, I didn't know what to do.
You were messing around with a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. And I ended up in Statens Værksted, and, you know, when you get there, things happen.
Sure.
And I looked up a lot of old stuff, and I picked up some 6 images from a hard disk that had been on the hard disk since 2004. I looked them over ever so often, but they didn't appeal to me. Mm-hmm. Until now.
They were waiting for their day?
Yeah, fermentation, you could call it. They've been fermenting for 10 years, and now they're ready to get out there.
Excellent.
Yeah, and they led to some new images that I did. 5 big ones. Those old ones, I poked around in a computer with them and did stuff, and I ended up choosing to do them as photogravure, because I thought that would be the best media for that kind of image.
Right, and you made them with Steve Stacy, right?
I did.
Another guest from the show.
Oh, yeah.
So people, if you want to, put together 2 of the people we've had on the show,
yeah,
Jacob and Steve made these works.
Let's make a band.
And I saw the photographers. They look amazing.
Mm-hmm. And he's such a skilled printer, so I could recommend him anytime.
Yeah. So where is the show?
Gallery Kent, Friday, 28th.
Friday 28th, and it's in downtown?
Mm-hmm. Store Kongsgade.
I'll put a link up. Mm-hmm. Store Kongsgade. Do you want to talk about your crisis on the bike or no?
Well, I've been on a lot of pressure lately.
It's been a fun 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's been, yes. Well, first of all, the date was changed, and I thought, okay, it's time to act.
Right, you got like 3 weeks notice, didn't you?
Yeah. The images were there, basically, but I need to print them and do the photography and all that. But I had to do some fast...
And frame them.
And frame them, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did everything myself.
Yeah.
But I had to make some decisions pretty quick. And I did. And I stuck to it, and I'm very satisfied with it.
So it worked out in the end, being forced to make the exhibition.
We talked about it last time. It motivates you when you have a deadline and that.
Yeah.
But then I crashed on my bike, and I lost 2 days that I had to work on these frames and images and all that. So it ended up, the whole frame shop this afternoon was helping me out. All hands on deck and
helping the cause. Taking one for the team.
Yeah. So I know I have to go home and bake a cake.
Yeah. Well, you know what that means for you guys, you listeners. That means you got to come to the show. Mm-hmm. It's on Friday.
Yeah.
It's at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock?
5ish, yeah.
5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see you guys there.
I hope so.
No, we will. You guys are all coming, each and every one of you. All right, well, thanks for coming in.
My pleasure.
Today's episode produced by the Undergang. Intro and outro music provided by Heavy Links, British hip-hop group. You can catch them on the About page. And the interstitial music provided by yours truly. Link to that on the show notes. What? You can find us at undergang.net on the interwebs. You can find links to all relevant information. You can find links to our email, to our Twitter, to our maybe future Instagram. You never know. You can write me an email, ando@undergang.net. I would love to hear from you guys. And once again, if you guys like the show, tell a friend. We're getting bigger and bigger, and that's the plan. Thanks for listening, guys. I'll catch you next week.